Let me make it clear, Dr. Azevedo, that Pansil will do everything it can to help your project.
And you do understand why it is so important for us to produce our own silicon?
Of course. And we shall be pleased to tender for the whole project on a turnkey basis.
Thank you. I shall inform our consultant.
Good. There's
the market guarantee.
Ah, yes. Thank you. There is another point, Dr. Azevedo. We have got a company in our group which manufactures solar cells and integrated circuits and so on. Our production will soon be big enough for us to guarantee a market for all the silicon you can produce. I believe that may be of some importance.
It's a very interesting point indeed, Mr. Watanabe. Thank you.
Well, I know that you're extremely busy. I won't take up any more of your time.
Well, it was very good of you to call on us, Mr. Watanabe. I hope you enjoy your stay in Tanaku.
Oh, thank you.
Goodbye, Mr. Ferguson.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Well, well, well. That was very interesting. So Pansil will guarantee a market for the additional silicon. That's good. The question now is, will any other group be able to compete with them?
Faulkner Enterprises are trying to form a consortium in Germany, apparently.
So let's be clear about various points, Mr. Rose. You want Micrel to help Tanaku to set up their solar panel factory.
Yes, it's a question of know-how. You have it, and the people of Tanaku don't.
But if we agree to set up the factory, there's still the matter of the extra silicon.
Yes, that's right. Our plant will produce about 3 times as much silicon as the solar panel factory can use. The Tanaku government needs to be sure of a market for the other 2/3.
If Micrel undertakes to buy some extra silicon each year, we have a good chance of getting the contract.
Look, there are the Alps, Mr. Rose. The tall peak is the Zugspitze.
Oh, yeah. Great.
And we're going to the top?
Yes, of course. I'm sure Mr. Rose wants to get to the top.
Sure, I want to get to the top, Dr. Rainbow.
Naturally, EAU will be very happy if Micrel agrees to buy the silicon.
Oh, yes. Very happy.
So Faulkner Enterprises equips the silicon plant. EAU builds the power station and the coating plant. For your companies, it is very good business. Micrel provides the know-how and the guarantee to buy the silicon. But what do we get in return for that guarantee?
What a fantastic view.
Yes, Mr. Rose. On one side of the mountain is Germany. On the other side is Austria. And up there are our solar panels. There they are.
Yeah. How much power do they produce?
These two produce 72 watts. They're powerful enough to run a small radio transmitter.
Why'd you put them up here?
Well, it's a research experiment. You see, we get a lot of sun on top of the mountain. It is also very cold. We wanted to find out how the high altitude and the temperature affects the solar cells.
That's very interesting. Where's Dr. Lehner?
He stayed down below.
Perhaps we'd better join him.
Why not? Unfortunately, you haven't answered my question, Mr. Rose. What does my company get in return for the guarantee to buy Tanaku silicon?
You get a guarantee. Guarantees work both ways. If your forecasts are correct, the demand for silicon will be enormous in the years to come. And Micrel will be looking for supplies. So if you guarantee a market for Tanaku, Tanaku guarantees supplies to you.
Oh, Christine, there's a friend of yours to see you.
David,
Hi there.
what on earth brings you here?
I'm on my way back to the States. I had to stop off in London, so I hired a car. Here I am. And I wanted to let you know how things were going.
But you do know James Clark is drawing up the bid specification, not me.
I'm sure he needs a lot of advice from you. Anyhow, this is just a friendly call. And I wanted to say hello to Professor Hardacre, not just to you. I was visiting Michael in Germany, and Carl Engel mentioned the Hampton Research Institute and your agricultural program.
Ah. How is Carl?
Oh, he's fine, fine. And he sends his regards.
Splendid. Look, I'm off now. Why don't you both come to my place for tea, hmm?
Did you have to ask him to tea?
Why not? He's been with my friends at Micro. He's a friend of yours, too, isn't he?
Friend? All he wants to do is influence me. Then I influence the consultant who influences the NDA in Tanaku. That's the idea, anyway. His friendship is strictly commercial.
Never mind. He's a pleasant young man. Why don't you take your chances when they're offered?
Of course, there is still some way to go before the consortium is formed. But I'm happy with the way things are going.
I'm very glad to hear it. But David, please don't expect me to influence anyone on your behalf.
Expect you to influence anyone? The thought never crossed my mind. Well, it did cross my mind once. But that's not why I'm here now. What a beautiful spot. I really like England. It's so old-fashioned.
What is that?
It's an electronic sundial.
I don't believe it.
It's one of Bill's inventions.
Well, is Michael into electronic sundials?
No, this is entirely my own idea.
One of his many toys.
It is not a toy. It shows what can be done with photoelectric cells. These register the amount of sunlight. They pass the information to the control box, which then operates the electric motor, so that the lens always faces the sun. These cells detect shifts of light to show the time to the nearest minute.
Betty? Good morning, Paul.
Hello, Dr. Walker. James is expecting you.
Thank you.
Hello, Christine.
Good morning, James.
It's very good of you to come.
You said in your letter you wanted me to check the bid specification.
That's right. By the way, I do apologize for anything I said last time we met.
That's quite all right, James. And if I can help you, I will.
Good. Well, here it is.
There's enough of it.
Well, that's only a draft. There'll be a lot more. Now, it falls into three parts. The first part deals with commercial requirements, contractual obligations, questions of liability, and so on.
Well, that's completely outside my field.
Oh, yes, of course. But the second part describes the physical conditions of the two sites. That's here, at Yatu Beach, and on the west coast. Soil conditions, rock strata, water sources, and climate.
That I understand. What about the third part?
Well, that's where we get down to details of equipment for the power station, the coking plant, the silicon processing, and the solar panel factory.
Mm-hmm. I see.
There are lots of details I need your advice on.
All right. Well, I'll look at the specification, and I'll be in touch with you.
Good. I look forward to that, Christine.
Goodbye, James.
All right, gentlemen? All right, that's fine. Now, on to the Tanaku Silicon project. Now, in our last meeting, we agreed to try to form a consortium. I'll ask David to summarize the progress he's made.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Both the German firms I told you about have agreed in principle to join us. EAU will provide the power station and the coking plant, and Michael will supply the know-how to equip and operate the solar panel factory. More important, Michael has also agreed in principle to guarantee a market with the extra silicon.
That's definitely a plus. Okay, that's a good start, but you say they've agreed in principle. Are we anywhere near a contract yet?
Well, both companies are willing to work with us to prepare a turnkey bid. But if our attempt fails, they want to be free to bid again, on their own or as part of another consortium.
Well, I'm an engineer, not a lawyer. How important is this exclusivity clause in this deal?
We want these firms with us all the way. If they're free to go and join another consortium, they won't care so much about ours. We must have exclusivity.
I agree. You'll have to insist on an exclusivity clause, David.
What's our next move?
Well, we still need a fourth partner of the consortium, a firm of civil engineers. David?
Yeah, I've discussed this with EAU and Micro, and they suggest we offer the job to a British firm, Denham Engineering.
Why a British firm?
Well, they have a good reputation in Tanaku, and they have good contacts with several local construction companies.
Well, that's just what we need. We must bring local companies into the project. Are Denham Engineering willing to join us?
We haven't approached them yet. I wanted your agreement before we do. Does anyone oppose my suggestion? Right. Denham Engineering. Get right on to them, David, before someone else does.
Average humidity. Average temperature.
£10. Borrowed it last week.
Present
Here it is.
crop yield. I think that's a lot. Now, I wonder if we learn anything interesting. .65. Oh, just much better.
Isn't it?
Hello, Christine.
What is this?
I'm trying out my program. The one I'm working on for Micrel.
What does it actually do?
It estimates the effect of increased irrigation on crop yields. The idea is to use pumps operated by solar power in places where the normal electricity supplies aren't available.
Oh, I see.
You see, Micrel are manufacturing solar pump units. With my program, they can tell a customer just what benefit he can get if he uses one of the units, as well as how big the unit should be and what irrigation channels are needed and so on.
The program tells you all that?
Yeah, it will do, if my calculations are correct. By the way, you owe me £10. Oh, thanks. Hardacre. Who? Yes, she's here. Christine, it's for you.
Thanks. Hello? David, hello.
I'm in London again. I'll be here for a couple of days at least. I was wondering if we could meet.
As a matter of fact, I am coming up to town this afternoon, but I've got an appointment with James Clark.
I've got an appointment myself this afternoon with Denham Engineering. I'm hoping they'll become another member of the consortium.
Yes. Well, I hope you succeed, David.
Can I see you tonight? I'm staying at the Royalty Hotel. I've been here several times, and the restaurant is very good. Why don't you come round about 7:30 and we'll have dinner together?
Sorry, David, I must get back here tonight.
Come on, give yourself an evening off.
No, honestly,
Well, at least think about it. If you change your mind, leave a message for me at the hotel.
I really don't think...
I want to see you again. Try and make it. Goodbye.
David, David?
Your boyfriend?
What do you mean, my boyfriend?
That nice young American.
David Rose. Yes. He's asked me to have dinner with him tonight. I can't, of course.
Why not?
You know why not, Bill. Faulkner Enterprises is one of the firms which will make a bid for the Tanaku Silicon project. James will be furious if I see him again.
James?
James Clark, the consultant.
Why? Is he jealous?
Jealous? James? He doesn't know the meaning of the word. He never thinks of anything but business. Anyway, I can't have dinner with David.
Mr. Rose? Mr. Taylor will be with you in a moment.
Good.
He's very sorry he kept you waiting. The meeting took longer than he expected.
It's quite all right.
Here's Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Rose, I'm sorry about all this.
That's quite all right. I haven't been here long.
It's not just that. The fact is, well, we wanted to contact you at your hotel. We did phone twice, but you'd left.
Oh, is there something wrong?
Not wrong, exactly, but I didn't want you to waste your time.
Waste my time? I don't understand.
About the consortium, the fact is we've already reached an agreement with Pencil of Tokyo.
Excuse me, Mr. Taylor. I must go now. I have another appointment.
I look forward to seeing you again, Mr. Hosokawa, and I'm glad everything is now agreed. Oh, this is Mr. Rose of Faulkner Enterprises, California. Mr. Hosokawa of Pencil.
How do you do, Mr. Rose?
Ah.
I believe you know Mr. Ferguson, our agent in Tanaku.
Yes, that's right, yeah. So, Denham Engineering is joining Pencil.
Yes, as civil engineers on the Tanaku project. And I'm to be the project director for Pencil.
Congratulations, Mr. Hosokawa.
Thank you. Please excuse me now. Goodbye, Mr.
Goodbye, Mr. Hosokawa. I'm sorry.
Lena? David, good to hear from you.
Yeah, I've just been to Denham Engineering.
Oh, good. What did they say?
Well, they're already part of a consortium which will bid for the Tanaku project. The Pencil Consortium.
Pencil?
Yeah. Pencil got to them first.
Well, now, that is a pity.
Pity? I can think of a lot of other words for it myself.
All is not lost, David? Yes, that's the firm. Leclerc and Dubon of Paris. If we can bring them in, we'll be in a good position.
I don't know them.
I know them well. I've worked with them before several times. They know the problems of developing countries.
Have they done work in Tanaku?
I don't know, but they're very good. Listen, David. If you can be in Paris tomorrow, I will meet you there. I can introduce you to Leclerc.
So the Pansel system produces square solar cells like this?
Yes, we developed it in our own research laboratories.
And if your bid is successful, Mr. Hosokawa, you'll install the system in Tanaku?
Yes, that's right.
What is the advantage of a square cell rather than a round one?
Very simple. May I use your coffee cups?
Oh, certainly.
Round cells leave gaps like that. Square ones can be laid side by side, like this.
So you get the same output of electricity from a smaller panel?
That's right.
And if you have smaller panels, you can cut down costs on other materials.
Yes. And since the panels are smaller and lighter, they're cheaper to transport.
Surely it costs more to produce monocrystalline silicon with a square section.
That is true. You'll find details of the two systems here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The total cost is about the same in each case.
But do you think people will prefer square cells?
Yes, they will want to have smaller panels where there is not much space, on the top of a small building, for instance.
We'll have to study these figures, Mr. Hosokawa.
Of course. By the way, you should see our manufacturing process. Pansel would be pleased to welcome both of you at a silicon plant in Japan.
No, that's very kind of you.
I should also like to welcome Mr. Silver so that he can see it too.
Well, I'm sure he'd be delighted.
Okay, Mr. Rose, I'll give you your message.
Oh, we'll fix up a date as soon as possible.
I look forward to meeting you again.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
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 Excuse me, Dr. Walker. Mr. Rose rang up. He wanted to speak to you, but I told him you were in a meeting, so he left a message for you.
Yes?
About having dinner with him tonight.
You're having dinner with Rose?
Okay. Thank you, Paul. As a matter of fact, I told David...
What are you going to tell him this time? Details of the specification, the offer of square cells from Pansel?
Oh, don't be
Why don't you
ridiculous.
take the file with you? Let Rose photocopy it.
How dare you? What makes you think I can't be trusted?
Look, I don't know what to think, but I don't like the way Rose follows you around. You've seen so much of him.
Do believe Bill was right.
Bill? Who's Bill?
Bill Hardacre. But never mind, it doesn't matter. Is there anything more you want to say?
No.
Good. May I use your telephone?
Yes, of course.
I just want to phone David to confirm our dinner date.
I'm sure you'll enjoy this, madam.
Thank you. It's wonderful.
They look nice. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh,
Try the straws.
David, before we eat, I must insist that I pay for my own meal tonight.
Okay. But I asked you here.
I'm sorry, but because of my position, I simply can't allow you to pay for me.
Now, Christine.
Either you agree, or I leave.
Okay. If you say so. Boy. Well, I hope you had a better meeting than I did today.
Why? What happened?
Denim Engineering, remember?
Uh-huh.
Well, I was going to make a deal with them, but I didn't. Pansel beat me to it.
Oh.
Gonna try someone else in Paris. We want to win that contract.
I'm sure you do.
So that reminds me. Have you ever been to California?
No.
Well, it's famous for sunshine, the Golden Gate Bridge, and Faulkner Enterprises. Come and see it for yourself.
The Golden Gate Bridge?
No, our factory, where we make arc furnaces and other silicon processing equipment.
Is this an invitation?
Yeah. And bring James Clark with you, and Silver from Tanaku.
I think they'd like that.
Good.
Look at the menu.
Ah, thank you.
Thank you.
The order in a minute.
Thanks. Great. Now I feel better. At least I'm ahead of Pansil in some ways.
Well, as a matter of fact,
Huh?
this looks very good.
Yeah, it does. Looks great.
Santé.
Garçon. Well, David, you look much happier.
I am, Gerhard.
And I'm very, very grateful to you for persuading Monsieur Leclerc to join our consortium.
We'll be good partners, I'm sure. And now it's time to celebrate.
Yes. Excuse me, Monsieur Leclerc. I must go call Harry in San Francisco. It's almost lunchtime there now, and if I tell him the good news, he'll be able to celebrate too. Okay?